Kimball was serving 2 years for domestic violence and was housed in the Monroe Correctional Complex, one of the largest prisons in the state.
You never know what somebody's mindset is in this situation or why they would make a decision like this. This is somebody who had a little over 6-7 months left on his sentence. He was set to get out in January of next year, and then does escapes.
While the facility has a high security unit, DOC says Kimball was housed in the minimum security unit and escaped just after 11 Thursday night, though he was not discovered missing until 3:30 in the morning.
Fam, what's going on, man? This your boy, the King, and this is the Incarceration Podcast. Today, I'm doing a reaction video of one of the worst prisons in Seattle, the Monroe Correctional Complex, where an inmate escapes only having about 7 months left, and then he gets caught. So before we go ahead and get into this video, man, y'all do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to this channel if you haven't, and just go ahead and check out one of the worst prisons of Seattle, the Monroe Correctional Complex, where an inmate escapes only having 7 months left, but then he gets caught. Let's go ahead and check out this video, y'all.
Department of Corrections arrested Samuel Kimball this afternoon about 20 miles away in Linwood, and that is where we find King 5 Sebastian Robertson live at the transit station where he was found. Sebastian?
Hey, Madeline. Yeah, he was arrested here at the Linwood Transit Center. Investigators say he was on the run for 13 hours, but we learned he was gone a full 5 hours before anyone found out he was missing. Tonight, investigators trying to figure out exactly what happened.
Well, I'm glad they caught him. Yeah, I mean, if he's in there for a 2-year sentence, serve your sentence.
All right, hold up. First of all, man, this guy only had 2 years in prison. Now, don't get me wrong. I say it all the time on this channel, dog. 1 day separated from our children, our families, and loved ones is 1 day too long. But 2 years, bro, you can do that standing on your head. I know there's some people who may have never been to jail who may be watching this, but like, dog, nah, 2 years is a long time. And yes, it is, but not compared to some convicts who've done decades in prison. You know what I mean? But some people will be surprised, like, yo, why the heck would this guy escape with 2 years left? And to my knowledge, Monroe is not like a work camp facility. They're not going like outside the gate to work. So however he escaped, which we'll see here shortly, like he real deal escaped, but why? Especially whenever you only have like 7 months left. And what I just want to talk about that briefly is you never know where someone's mental state is. So obviously it makes sense if somebody has like 50, 60 years, a life sentence, maybe even 40, 30 years, that makes sense that somebody would try to escape. Shoot, even 20, you know what I mean? I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do for any convict, but it makes sense with that large amount of time would want to escape. But 2 years is like, bro, that's dumb, because that's a mandatory 5 years for escape, at least in the state of Florida. I'm sure every state has different laws and statutes when it comes to the amount of time that a convict can get for escaping. But I know in Florida, if you escape and you're found guilty, it's a mandatory minimum 5 years. So his 2 year sentence could immediately turn into 5, which would be 7. You know what I mean? All for what reason? So it would make sense, like if he had a family member or a loved one in society who had like a terminal illness, who was about to pass, or maybe something happened with his children or his family and his loved ones, and he just bugged out his mind and just couldn't take it, and just, I have to be there for them, I have to get out. Okay, even though that's not wise, like I can understand that as well. So let me know in the comments, bro, why do you think that this convict escaped? And just go ahead and see if they say why.
You gotta pay the time if you do the crime.
Kimball was serving 2 years for domestic violence and was housed in the Monroe Correctional Complex, one of the largest prisons in the state.
You never know what somebody's mindset is in this situation or why they would make a decision like this. This is somebody who had a little over 6-7 months left on his sentence. He was set to get out in January of next year, and then does escapes.
While the facility has a high security unit, DOC says Kimball was housed in the minimum security unit and escaped just after 11 Thursday night, though he was not discovered missing until 3:30 in the morning. Once DOC leadership...
Okay, so he was on the minimum side of the compound. So maybe he was at like a work camp facility to where it had like a smaller gate, or maybe even no fence at all. Some prisons have that when it's a very minimum yard. Some places don't even have, fences, especially if they're already going out in the community and working. But one thing that may shock people is like, yo, I can't believe the prison didn't find out that he escaped until 5 hours later. It's like, nah, bro, like, especially like on minimum yards, like there's not much controlled movement. So it's pretty much like the yard is open all day. They call it like, yo, the yard is swinging. You know what I mean? You can literally get up in the morning and you can just go about your day. You can go to chapel, you can go to education, you can go hang out in the rec yard, go to canteen, you can go to different programs. And the only time you really have to go back to your dorm and go back to your cell is for count time. And normally count time is only like 5 or 6 times throughout the day. So normally count time is actually spread apart about 5 or 6 hours. So that's probably when they noticed that he was missing. You know what I mean? They did count. He wasn't in a cell. They probably did a recount thinking that maybe he slid to another dorm or went to somebody else's cell, and they did another recount and another recount. All right, now we have a maybe possible escapee on our hands. And that's when they probably begin to do the search for him. But bro was only running for 13 hours. And it's rare that you actually see people escape prison or jail and get away for like a day. You know what I mean? I think it's super common because they got dogs, they can track your scent. And I think it was very unwise that this man would go to the bus station. You know what I mean? Like, okay, it's wise that he's not in his prison blues or oranges or whatever state Washington has for the Department of Corrections. But I mean, going to the bus station, that's one of the first places that the police are going to stake out at. You know what I mean? It's very unwise. But obviously, he wasn't in the right state of mind. So bro escaped and only was out for 13 hours just to get caught, bro. Crazy.
Missing. They blasted out his picture to news organizations. It quickly spread on social media. They say someone recognized him here at the Linwood Transit Center and called 911. He was injured. Investigators say that's from injuries he sustained while escaping. Madeline, back to you.
All right, so y'all hear it, man. They put his picture all over the news, and someone recognized him at the bus stop, called the police. And as you can see, man, he got blood all over, his sweater and his sweats. And they said he was injured while escaping. So maybe they did have a barbed wire fence. Maybe he cut himself while he was trying to jump the fence. Who knows? But the saddest part about it, bro, is they're probably going to give him a lot more time. You know what I mean? So for whatever reason he was trying to escape, he's not going to make it home sooner. He's just going to postpone it. Bro only had 6 or 7 months. And dog, I personally know the feeling. Whenever I went to prison my first time, at the end of my sentence in the state of Florida, they got what they call work release. It's whenever you have 19 months or less, if you work your custody all the way down to minimum and then community, they'll send you to a work release center. And it's still like a prison facility, but it's literally like an old abandoned hotel that they renovate. And they actually kind of turn it into dorm rooms. So there's like 6 to maybe 12 to 14 people within each room with bunk beds and lockers. You got your own shower that you share with everybody in the bathroom and things like that. And you actually go out into society and you work for a company. But you can only take the bus, from the work release center or get picked up by your boss, go to work and back. They take half your check, but it's a great, opportunity to transition back in society, not only getting used back to like working in society, but even being able to save money. So nowadays they have like GPS monitor tracking, on every convict going out to work. But back then they didn't. And this was in 2000 and maybe 10, I believe. So because they didn't have the GPS tracking, what the administration would do is they would just randomly pop up at people's job sites to make sure that you were there. You of course had to leave at the right time according to your schedule, and you had to get back to the work release center at the right time. If you didn't come back within so many hours, they try to contact you. If they can't contact you, they call the police. So we went to work and apparently we didn't have work that day. So rather than just going right back to the center, we're like, shoot, let's hang out. So we're hanging out, traveling throughout the city. I went to the beach and I came back like at the proper time to where I would have gotten off work. But right whenever I came back, I found out like, yo, they went to my work that day and none of us were there. So the other guys, they made it back before us and they just got immediately put in cuffs and taken back to prison. But me and another guy who came back later, they called the police on us and they hit us us with an outside escape charge. So the local sheriff of that county, I think it was Pinellas County, they came and they arrested us and they took us to the Pinellas County jail and hit us with an outside escape charge. And bro, I was terrified, man. I only had like maybe 10 months left, and I thought I was gonna get hit with the outside escape charge, facing another 5 years. I just did 2.5. So I'm freaking out in the county jail. But then a local like prison sergeant came to serve me my disciplinary report, and whenever he came to see me, he's like, yo, you just gotta sign this DR or whatever. He's like, but yo, don't even worry about an outside charge. You didn't escape, you know, we let you go and you just deviated, so they can hit you with escape DR, jack your custody all the way up to max, and you're just gonna lose your gang time and get sent back to prison. So thank God I didn't get hit with the outside escape charge. But I do know the feeling of only having like 10 months left, but then losing all of my good time at the very end of my sentence, where I couldn't even make it back up, and I had to do like an extra, I think 6 or 7 months in prison because I lost my gang time. You know, so I just imagine the feeling of this guy who only had 6 or 7 months left, and now he might get hit with an extra 5 years, bro. Sucks. So y'all go ahead and hit that hype button, bro, so this video can go viral, just so anybody who may be going up the road, bro. And of course, man, there's nothing cool, there's nothing glamorous, there's nothing that's positive at all about going to jail or prison, apart from the fact that at our lowest low is when we become the most accessible for the hand of God to truly transform our lives through faith in Christ Jesus, man. Because if you don't know my story, throughout 12 years of incarceration is where I authentically encountered Jesus Christ, and he radically transformed my life, dog. But the reason why I'm saying this is because anybody who may be fighting a case right now, or whoever may watch this and then eventually, sadly, I hope not, but if they go up the road, like, yo, just do your time, stay out the way, focus on rehabilitation, growth, maturity, you know, faith in Christ, your relationship and intimacy with Jesus, and then come home, bro. Don't try to escape, man, because you don't want to be sadly like this guy, or even like myself, and mess up at work release, bro, and have to do more time, bro, because it's not worth it, bro. So y'all go ahead and hit that hype button, dog. So look, family, it's your boy E.I. the King, and this is the Incarceration Podcast. And family, look, I got a fire HBO style series on the full episode playlist as a chronological journey of my 12 years in prison. It's called The Incarceration. Season 1 has been out, but season 2 is just now coming out. But to access it, you have to become an all access member to this channel, and this is a preview clip of season 2 right here. Stop. And a lot of times it's not one-on-one. A lot of people getting jumped, a lot of 2-on-2s or 3s-on-5s, all day, every day. No exaggeration. When the police see the fighting, majority of the time, they won't even break it up, won't even look, won't even lock down the dorm, just put a blind eye to it and keep on going. Non-stop chaos, all day, every day. No exaggeration. Nothing but yelling, fighting, and occasionally stabbings. One thing I began to realize as well at JIT camp is that people had knives for sure, but they call them fence pokers. Little wire that people unravel off the fence posts, they sharpen it up on the floor, and it becomes a knife. But they're small and they're really skinny. So even though they go in and out real quick and real fast and, you know, will puncture people, it's not really deadly unless you hit somebody in the jugular or in the eye or something like that. And also, if you didn't know, man, I am a rapper. My artist name is E.I. the King. You can find my music wherever you listen to your music at. Go to my artist YouTube channel, E.I. the King, to check out my music videos. Follow me on Instagram, E.I. the King. TikTok, E.I. the King. E.I. the King Official. For all you gamers out there, follow me on Twitch, E.I. the King Gaming. And family, look, I got a new YouTube channel. All crime things related. It's called Real Crime Stories Unlocked. There's about to be a link that pops up at the end of this video. Go ahead and click that link. It's going to take you to my new channel. Subscribe, follow, check out the content is fire. And family, look, we're on the journey to 100,000 subs. Right now we're at 50K. I appreciate all the day one viewers and day one subscribers. If you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Y'all do me a favor, go ahead and like this video right now. For all the convicts watching, man, if you done time in a county jail, state prison, federal prison, you want to share your incarcerated experiences, email me at eithekingbooking@gmail.com or DM me on Instagram at eitheking_. And as I interview you, I'll post your interview up on this channel. If you got a social media channel or YouTube channel, whatever you want to promote, I'll allow you to promote it throughout the interview. And y'all stay tapped in to more fire content to continue to come your way. It's your boy E.I. the King, and I'm out. Peace.